Back here on YouTube. Welcome back. If you're new here to the channel, I'm Dr. Robin. I'm your sleep health coach and clinical pharmacist. I'm here to help you to get the most amazing sleep ever. So on our channel, we go over sleep supplements, different vitamins. We go over different minerals. Those of you all who have been watching me long enough know that my favorite mineral is actually magnesium. I love magnesium. So we go over a lot of that information. And today I wanted to really do a deep dive in what it means. Because this is a question I get often, can I just take a melatonin pill to fall asleep? Most people who by the time they've come to me, they've tried melatonin and they know why they just can't pop a melatonin pill to go to sleep. So today we're going to go into really talking about, how the melatonin is marketed to us while these dosages are really unnaturally high for us. We're going to go into it. I always have my notes here. I see some people starting to pop on. Definitely pop on. We're going to go into 10 major dangers as to why you may really want to rethink using a melatonin supplement to get a good night's sleep. So again, melatonin supplements, they're really marketed to us as, something that is harmless. Our body naturally produces melatonin under good conditions, but we're wondering, what's going on here? Why aren't we not producing this on a regular basis? Some of the things that is highly concerning, and we'll go into this when we start talking about our major 10 dangers for this, is when we start providing the body with a outside hormone, the body may actually get the message that, oh, I don't need to produce this anymore, which is super dangerous because we need this to get a good night's sleep. And during sleep at nighttime is when we actually regenerate, we heal, we actually consolidate all our memories. And we actually have emotional regulation. So all the emotions and things that we're going through the day really helps to get solid and become one and whole. And thank you for the likes. I see some of you all popping in for the likes. I appreciate it. Definitely subscribe to our channel. If you're new here at Sleepwell RX, we're going over some of the 10 major dangers of melatonin. So the first danger I want to talk about is something called hormonal hijack. So we naturally release melatonin anywhere from 0.1 milligrams to about 0.8. But if you go into the store, you go into your local drugstore, even the health food store, they have really high dosage of these melatonin pills. There are 3 milligram pills, there are 5 milligrams, 10 milligrams. I've even seen some that are going up to like 30 milligrams. This is 10 times the natural dose. This is very harmful. Flooding the body with these high dosages shuts down production of our natural melatonin. And animal studies have shown really questionable things too, like our other hormones. So we know we have, our other hormones such as testosterone, also estrogen. They have seen that there's actually been testicular shrinkage when people get too much melatonin. Also, there can be alterations in our estrogen cycle. So this is something very serious. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe to our channel where we go over all things sleep. So helping you to maximize and get the most amazing sleep to help you wake up every morning ready to take on your day. So one of the other hormones, they found that, when people are taking this, even at smaller doses, 5-6 milligrams a day, they have issues and potential issues with having really reproductive issues, specifically the ability to have fertility issues. And removing this, they found that it takes a long time. So if someone's been on really high doses of melatonin for a long period of time, it can take anywhere from, anywhere 1, 2 to 3 months to get back to normal. So that's the first danger we're talking about, is how it hijacks your hormones. So melatonin, again, is a hormone that's produced. A lot of it's produced in our gut. A lot of people didn't realize that. So that gut health is so important. Melatonin is also produced in the brain, in the pineal gland. Super important as well. So when we're making this natural melatonin, if we start giving ourselves really this large doses that we see in the stores, we can have what they call a hormonal hijack, where all of a sudden the body doesn't seem like it needs to produce as much melatonin anymore. They've seen decreased fertility rates if people have too much melatonin, altered estrogen cycle. So if you're a woman going through issues with estrogen dominance, this is something that would be very serious, is important. You want to lower the amount to really get back to the normal amounts. We naturally secrete 0.1 milligrams to like up to 0.8. So really small, not even 1 milligram of melatonin do we naturally secrete. So bottom line, we're definitely running a massive hormonal experiment on ourselves that could have really negative consequences. The next thing that people have telling me, and they find that they have, the danger number 2 is taking these higher dosages of melatonin can actually become like a nightmare factory, where they're producing just really dreams that could be night terrors, nightmares, or just overly vivid to the fact that they have to wake up from these dreams, calm themselves down, and this actually defeats the whole reason why they're taking the melatonin. The melatonin itself, were kids even who sometimes taking it, excessive monsters, these night terrors that are going on, and they will actually refuse to get to sleep at night because of the melatonin side effects. Melatonin boosts the REM. It overexcites this particular area of our sleep and our sleep phase, where dreams become longer, they become scarier, they become more vivid, and they become emotionally intense. So that's the second danger we talked about. We talked about the first danger, how it hijacks your other hormones, including the sex hormones, testosterone and estrogen. Number 2, it makes a nightmare factory for yourself, where adults, really, and especially children as well, if they're taking particular higher doses of the melatonin, they can find these really nightmares. Number 3 danger is mood cliff. Getting on the cliff of the edge of just always being in a bad mood, where people feel that they are numb, they're crying for no reason, they feel that this is like a dark, heavy cloud over them, and even there's been some evidence, increase in self-harm events by taking too much melatonin. Melatonin lowers the dopamine in the brain, which we all know that dopamine is one of those feel-good drugs. It's kind of a natural drug that we secrete that really rewards us. And some of the warnings across the world, they will have on a lot of these melatonin packages that if you notice mood changes, discontinue. I did find a lot of and I see some people hopping on. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe to our channel. I see some people hopping on. Beatrice, hi. Mason, hi. Dabre, hi. And definitely tell me where in the world you are watching from. Last time we had people from the UK. We had someone from Greece. We had somebody in Vietnam. We get so many amazing people on our channel. Be sure to tell us in the comments and in the chat where you're watching from. So we're going over the dangers of melatonin right now. We talked about how it hijacks, your hormones, how it creates a lot of really bad, voracious nightmares. Number 3, we just got through discussing on how people can feel like they're crying for no reason, feeling numb for no reason, that they are actually experiencing severe mood or disorders and mood changes. In some of the different melatonin packaging we've seen throughout the world, they will put this as a warning, but some places don't always put this as a warning on their packaging. So that's something I definitely want you to be definitely be careful of during that time. The next one is having number 4, danger for melatonin, is having a sedation hangover. So this is something where, some of the people will experience a good night's sleep, but over into the morning, they feel groggy, they feel exhausted, they feel like the sedative is lasting way too long than it should be. They're really looking to get up in the morning, really having, being able to take charge of their day. But all of a sudden, because they're taking these melatonin supplements, they're having a hangover effect. They've even done some studies where they've seen a very similar hangover effect to that of drinking too much alcohol the night before. So that grogginess, the brain fog, slow reactions, feeling exhausted and like you didn't get a good night's sleep, or feeling like you just can't seem to wake up. Number 4 is definitely that sedation hangover. So let me see if there's any questions in here. Okay, someone asked a good question. What about natural melatonin? That's a really great question. So most of the melatonin is not natural that we see. They have gummies, they have sprays, they have, capsules, tablets. Excuse me, but most of those are just simply not natural. They're made in a laboratory. Now, where can we get some of our natural melatonin? Luckily, Mother Nature has us covered. So one of the top fruits we hear about all the time is tart cherries. Even regular cherries have natural melatonin. Kiwi has natural melatonin. Bananas have natural melatonin. So we do have a lot of fruits that have really great natural melatonin in them. So we don't have to use any of the, really the more dangerous supplements that are unnatural, made in a lab on the market. Some other good things, you could try pistachios if you enjoy having, a light snack of nuts in the evening. That can definitely assist with that. So that was a really good question, where we can do natural one. Another one, a lot of people think that, a glass of wine will help them to get into a good deep sleep. Actually, alcohol before bed really disrupts your entire sleep cycle. Alcohol makes you have to get up and go use the bathroom throughout the night. It's actually very dehydrating. And all your, we go into the various cycles. We go into REM, we go into phase 1, phase 2, and we cycle throughout the whole night. It's very natural. All of us do this, but they find that when we drink too much alcohol before bed, it totally gets that out of whack. People wake up with that sedation hangover. So a lot of people who do feel that sedative is probably because of grapes. Most wines we know, and there's some other different types of wines that are made of other fruits, but most popular wines are made of grapes, and that's what's actually giving you the sedative effect. There's actually natural melatonin in grapes themselves. So that's a really another good way to really get natural melatonin. It's really your fruits and some of the nuts are giving us the natural melatonin that we need to get a great night's sleep. Okay. So I'm seeing if there's any other questions, definitely put them down. That was a wonderful question. The next thing is, and this is something that can happen with any of the supplements, is that there really isn't a lot of regulations. Like our pharmaceuticals are very heavily regulated. Here in the US, we have the FDA that regulates. There's different regulating bodies all over the world. Hi, definitely bearded. Hi, thank you. So tonight we're talking about, some people were just hopping on the live. Be sure to subscribe here to Sleep Well RX as we help you to get the most amazing sleep. so that you can wake up every morning ready to take on your day, ready to take on your world. So welcome, welcome here. So we're going over tonight some of the dangers of sleep that people don't talk about. I get a lot of questions about, can I just pop a melatonin pill? And so we're going over that. We'll do a quick recap because we're doing number 5 now, and then we'll do a recap of the first 5. I have 10 dangers of melatonin that we're going into, doing a deep dive into tonight. Number 5 is the lack of regulatory really oversight for these particular types of supplements. Sometimes they've done studies where, a 1 milligram of melatonin really had 10 milligrams in it and vice versa. So this can be definitely so much variability across various brands. A lot of times there is not a third party involved in actually seeing how pure these brands are. Some products are definitely, contaminated even with other supplements and other chemicals. So every new bottle, you're kind of playing, Russian roulette with your health because we don't have a lot of regulatory information on that. So we're going to go ahead and do a brief recap. We're doing 10 dangers of melatonin. So the first one we wanted to talk about tonight we went over was definitely people having issues with, nightmares. They get really vivid dreams because it increases the actual supplements, the synthetic supplements, increases the length of the REM. That's particularly your rapid eye movement, where you're getting a lot of your active dreams. It's also the part where you're getting a lot of, healing and so forth. But they're finding that these people, they have more vivid dreams. It's a major side effect. The dreams are actually more aggressive, more brutal dreams. They can be night terrors, nightmares. Definitely look into, if you're having these nightmares and so forth and you're on a melatonin supplement, you want to slowly, decrease your dosage over time, and then it stays in the body for a little while. So that's very concerning as well. So it may take 4 to 8 weeks for you to actually, eliminate this out of the body so you're not getting these crazy side effects. We talked about the hormonal hijack. The too much melatonin and these, especially the synthetic forms that we see, can actually really give us estrogen dominance as women. It can affect testosterone. They even notice decreased testicular weights in men. They notice decrease in fertility rates in people who have been on long-term melatonin. So this is something very serious. One of the other issues I found that was just very fascinating, that the more that someone is on these higher doses of synthetic melatonins for long times, whether they're getting the gummies or the pills or the capsules, whatever it is, the body says, okay, I don't need to make anymore. Robin, I'll just use myself for example. Robin's just, guzzling these melatonin down. I can, look at some other functions we need, some other bodily functions. I can stop making the melatonin. That's dangerous. That's super dangerous. So we talked about that. Those are the first 2. We talked about that being on these higher dosages of, synthetic melatonin actually affects our moods. So if you're a person that's prone to, like, say, anxiety, panic attacks, a variety of issues that you have, mentally. Even if you're not prone to these, the melatonin was shown in studies to increase rates of people feeling like they were crying for no reason, feeling numb, just severe mood changes, not slight mood changes, but really severe mood changes. I have seen some bottles where they will give you a warning that if you notice mood changes, immediately, notify your pharmacist or your doctor of these mood changes, and begin a slow taper off of the melatonin. Not all bottles have this warning on there, unfortunately. So this is something you'll definitely, hopefully you've grabbed a notebook and you're taking good notes right here tonight. We talked about a sedation hangover, almost equivalent. That was the fourth danger. Very much equivalent to that hangover feel after drinking too much alcohol the night before. That grogginess, that brain fog that's going on, the slow reactions that's going on. Definitely can be seen when people are taking those larger doses of the melatonin, way larger than our body naturally secretes. Remember at the beginning of this video, I mentioned that our body makes natural melatonin on its own, and even we can get it naturally from fruits and a few nuts. So we talked about, the cherries, the tart cherries, even the regular cherries have a good amount in that. So what we're looking at today is really decreasing if you're having, any issues with synthetic high dosages of the melatonin. The fruits and the nuts are also low dosages, very much mimicking what our body does naturally. So that we don't get that hangover. Number 5, we talked about the lack of regulation. A lot of our supplements, our herbs, vitamins, minerals are not highly regulated like our pharmaceuticals are. And so it's kind of like the wild west out there, kind of playing Russian roulette. There's some particular supplements that will actually have a third party on there. It'll be listed on there. That they have actually, contacted a third party to check the purity of their supplements, check if they really have the milligram strength that they said. Sometimes they've done some independent studies where a 1 milligram of a particular supplement really had 10 milligrams in it, and vice versa. So that's something you definitely want to look into. So we're going to keep going here. We're talking about the 10 dangers of taking the synthetic higher doses of melatonin. How this really wrecks your body, definitely wrecks your sleep. So number 6 is definitely we've seen really an explosion in advertising and marketing this for children who can't sleep. Again, we should be teaching and working with our child to really get down good sleep habits early in life. So teaching them, they can't be on their phones to, 10, 11 o'clock at night, just doom scrolling. They need to have a set bedtime routine as well. And their dreams, if they are on the higher doses of melatonin, they have found that, when kids are actually embracing this, they have even more night terrors. So much to the fact that they don't even want to go back to sleep. So definitely look at that. We don't have a lot of long-term data, what long-term melatonin does actually for, adults as well as children. So we have seen decreased fertility rates, decrease in testicular weight, increase in estrogen dominance. So this is something really serious. What is this long-term synthetic melatonin doing to our bodies and the long-term rate? Something that definitely we have to look at for that. So definitely, I see some new people. Hi, Ariana, Masam. So many people are popping on the live tonight. Definitely take this time to subscribe to our channel, Sleep Well RX, where we go over sleep supplements, vitamins. We go over a lot of sleep hygiene, which a lot of people are like, what's that, sleep hygiene? That's just some basic rules that used to come to us very naturally as humans. In our modern day, we have to kind of really relearn those rules and learn what it means to have good sleep hygiene. So like dimming the lights in the evening, actually, we need to actually cool the body down. We cannot begin the sleep, which they call onset of sleep. We cannot actually start the sleep unless we are in cooler temperatures. That's probably why I get most of my clients in the summertime, because they need to take those extra steps to cool down in order to get a good night's sleep. So we're definitely, let's see. Okay, so yes, so someone asked a good question. Definitely put questions down here. Someone said, is it better to take a shower before bed? So what happens when you're taking a warm or hot shower before bed or a warm or hot bath before bed? You're helping to relax yourself. You're doing definitely some emotional regulation. And doing this right before bed, after you actually get out of the warm or hot bath or shower, they find that your body starts to go into a homeostasis where it starts cooling down. So it's actually, even though it's a hot bath or shower or a hot, hot foot soak, because I know some people say they don't have bathtubs, and that's fine. If they want to do a hot foot soak before bed, your body enters a state where it says, okay, we got to cool down now from that hot foot soak, that hot shower and a hot bath. So doing that about an hour before bed, that cool down actually helps to make you more drowsy, and it's an all natural sedative. So definitely, that was a great question. I think who was on here? Levi asked that question. Thank you, Levi. Thank you. Be sure to subscribe here to our channel if you're finding this information helpful tonight. So we're gonna go in. Okay, Jenny said, hi Jenny, good to see you. What are some safer alternatives that are more natural? So we went into the natural fruits and the nuts. Pistachios are the nuts that have the highest melatonin in them. Then tart cherries are one of the top fruits. Regular cherries, grapes, that's why people feel that sedative effect when they're going to sleep at night. If they have, particularly like an alcohol drink, a wine before going to sleep. That wine and that grapes, particularly in the wine, actually definitely assists with, natural melatonin. So other things we talked about, that warm bath where you do that cool down and it signals the body to go to sleep. The light discipline, like I have these bright ring lights in front of me, but I'll be off of this live soon so that I can begin definitely turning down the lights, doing more of lamps. And actually, if I need to check anything on my phone or my laptop, definitely going to really, putting on our blue blocker glasses, doing that caffeine curfew. If you're one of these people that's drinking caffeine in the evening and you're planning on going to sleep later that night, definitely look at your times for that. Different people break down caffeine. And someone says they eat a banana. That's a great idea. Banana has natural melatonin in it. It's calming, good fruit. Definitely, you can make a delicious even melatonin smoothie before going to sleep at night, where you're gonna put some bananas in it, put a few, blueberries, add a few frozen grapes. It's delicious, absolutely delicious. And he said my grandma used to eat the bananas, and it came, yeah, bananas and cinnamon are a delicious snack. I love that. And definitely looking at, other ways you can do. We have at sleepwellrx.com a natural way that will signal your body to start really sending out melatonin, where we have our organic lavender sleep spray. Again, you can go to sleepwellrx.com. We'll be adding more products soon. This is our premier product. We're so proud of this, to help assist you to really calm your nerves, and to really assist you to really notifying them. Yes, that does work. It definitely does work also. Aromatherapy is, been used for thousands of years. As long as humans have existed, we are definitely using aromatherapy. And someone says they're chiming in from the DMV. Good to see you. Good to have you on tonight. We have people always over, everything. And socks can be helpful. And someone says, so what if I am taking melatonin now? What should I do? So definitely always when you're stopping or starting, supplements, you always want to check with your primary care person, or if you go to a local pharmacy, they can assist you as well. So you don't want to quit cold turkey. You want to reduce the dose about 10% or so about every 5 days that you're taking it. And definitely start using the other ways to get, melatonin in for that. Using some of the more natural substances that we talked about earlier. Even the aromatherapy will help notify the body that it's time to get a great night's sleep. So expect vivid dreams temporarily if you're looking to get off of it. It takes about 4 to 8 weeks for it to get completely out of the body. But while you're doing the slow taper to get it out, you can have some rebound nightmares and night terrors that could occur. So definitely be careful with that. So we'll go on. We talked about the first six. Number seven is potentially that this can actually cause drug interactions. The melatonin could potentially block liver enzymes that actually clear and help you to metabolize other drugs out of the body. And some of these drugs, it can be potentially dangerous, such as like Prozac, or taking too much melatonin can cause a serotonin overload, which can be extremely dangerous. And a lot of people don't catch this because they think, oh, melatonin is just a supplement. It's not harmful, or it's just like a vitamin. Melatonin is neither a supplement or a vitamin. Melatonin is actually a hormone, and when we get it in the pharmacy, and not just the pharmacy, the health food store ones, all of those, unless we're getting natural fruits, and natural, nuts that have it, like pistachios, I mentioned, all the other fruits, kiwi, banana. If we're getting this, they're made in a lab, and it's a hormone we're adding into our body, which can be very dangerous. So definitely be careful of that. Number 8, we talked about, I think this is a new one we're talking about. So I mentioned it earlier when we talked about the hormonal hijacking. Number 8 can definitely cause a lot of and they're still researching this, fertility unknowns. So they know in different animals, and farmers have been able to determine this, melatonin really helps to control the breeding cycles when they're looking at various farm animals and various horses and so forth, all of these various animals. So we are, very similar. We're mammals as well. So this is something definitely to look into. Women who definitely are taking some of these supplements, the synthetic hormonal melatonin, can find, lower progesterone. If they're seeking fertility treatments, the outcomes of those fertility treatments are often worse in women taking these synthetic melatonin. We're not talking about if you're eating, a banana before bed, or you're having a bowl of cherries. Tonight before bed, I'm going to have a bowl of grapes. So we're not talking about the natural melatonin that's found in fruits and nuts. We're talking about the dangers of the supplements that we see on all of our shelves. They also noticed that men who are taking these higher doses of synthetic melatonin were having, shrinkage in testicles, definitely reduced sperm motility, decreased libido. So that's something really to look into. And they do need to do more searches, more research, and more study to see, why humans and why animals in general, once they begin to have these particular hormonal supplements, melatonin, why they have decreased in fertility. The next one is sleep apnea could be masked. Melatonin definitely relaxes the muscles to the effect that it worsens airway collapse in someone who has not really yet been diagnosed with sleep apnea, which can lower the oxygen, definitely stressing the heart out. If you're a person who's waking up, you're feeling exhausted more than normal, you're catching your breath. If someone has noticed in your particular, has observed you sleeping, that they will actually notice that you stop breathing at some point, or you're gasping for air. You definitely want to have a sleep apnea test to see if that's what's going on. Not all snoring is sleep apnea, and not all sleep apnea has snoring in it. So this is something you can definitely check into. And there's places online you can go now where they'll actually send you a sleep apnea kit for your home, for you to actually use that in the privacy of your home. If that doesn't work out, there are actually sleep labs throughout the world, throughout the country, where they will hook you up. You'll come into the lab and spend a couple of nights there, and they will definitely assist with that. So we're up to number 10 now, and we're just about through. So now I can start my power down hour to get some great sleep. Serotonin contamination has been found, where melatonin is actually in our body is made naturally from serotonin. And in the chemical lab instance, they have found that some of these melatonin substances, these particular synthetic things that they're trying to make from synthetic serotonin, can actually produce serotonin sickness in humans. Serotonin sickness, serotonin syndrome is very serious. It can cause, coma, seizures, very, very, very serious. So again, that really ties into, we talked about how pure are our supplements. And then we're going to throw in a bonus one, number 11. If you're just taking this all of the time, it could be a psychological crutch where you feel like you can't sleep without it, and really creates a dependency and even a sleep anxiety if you can't get a hold of it. So definitely, you want to look into that. So we'll do a brief recap. We'll put it all together. Melatonin is not candy. It's not a vitamin. It's not a mineral. It's not a natural supplement. We get natural supplements and all natural melatonin, once again, from our fruits and some of the items that we get from nuts. So pistachios have really great melatonin in it. Grapes, cherries, kiwi, banana. We have a lot of good options to get, and they come in the smaller doses that we naturally secrete. So we're going to look at, again, putting this all together. It really disrupts. Melatonin is a hormone. It is not a vitamin. It is not a mineral or a all-natural supplement. It's usually made synthetically in a laboratory. It causes endocrine disruption. They've seen estrogen disruption, decreased testosterone levels, more estrogen dominance. It causes mood decline, and where the declining mood has happened so harshly where people have noticed that they've caused themselves self-harm. They have no inspiration to give up. They're crying for no reasons. Mood disorders caused by melatonin is very, very serious. You want to definitely work with somebody to help you to start decreasing those doses and get off of that if you're experiencing this. We talked about how there's a lot of fertility unknowns. Farmers know that melatonin controls the breeding cycle in their animals. Most of these animals are mammals like us, so it makes sense that if they are noticing that, there more research and studies need to be done to really see how melatonin is affecting our fertility. Sedation hangovers, the synthetic melatonin we see at the stores can cause you to wake up in the morning feeling, really groggy, sleepy, more sleepy than you did the night before. You can have brain fog, very similar to almost having an alcohol hangover. We talked about there could be dangerous drug interactions, even dangerous interactions with other supplements, market contamination, where you're just not getting a pure substance. Sleep apnea, masking it because it's so relaxing, but it's masking that you may need help in this area. Finally, we talked about being psychologically dependent on it. So those are some of the dangers that we see with the melatonin. So please, be careful with that. I am a person, I don't take supplements just, willy-nilly. I want to work with somebody, whether I'm working with sometimes I work with a naturopath. Sometimes I work with an herbalist. Sometimes I work specifically with an MD who has background and information on assisting with that. Definitely take your time. Don't rush to take out the latest, rush to take the latest supplement you hear on the market. Do your research first, and working with a professional is so important for that. Again, this is a great way to induce natural melatonin. We have our Sleep Well RX aromatherapy sleep spray. It's organic lavender sleep spray that helps you to get really a calmer nervous system, decrease anxiety. I even have clients who use this during the day when they just need to calm down. Just a nice spritz. It gets a nice, definitely spritz in the air. Go to sleepwellrx.com. And thank you so much for tonight. I'm going to see if there's any other questions. Thank you so much for the participation. I really enjoyed it. Awesome, awesome. Really great participation tonight. Thank you for all the great things, Levi. This was amazing. So again, sleepwellrx.com. We'll be adding more products very, very soon. You all take care of yourselves, live well, sleep well, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.